Hey y'all, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Bodice Tipplers,
the podcast where we read all the books we used to steal off our grandmother's nightstands.
And then we drink about it. Hey y'all, it is our 100th episode of Bodice Tipplers. So we figured there was only one true way to celebrate 100 times of doing this semi-regularly. So buckle up, sassenachs. We're going on an Outlander journey.
Ooh. Obviously, if you know this book, you know this has serious content warnings. If you don't know this book, then I'll give you a little shovel to get out of the hole you've been living in for a while now. Yeah, there's major sexual assault content warnings for the book, for the show, for this podcast. Like, it's a hide your wife, hide your kids, they raping everybody out here situation.
Captain Blackjack Randall is a one-man raping wrecking crew all across Scotland.
Yeah, and it's equal opportunity, which is rare in these books.
I mean, he is.
Yeah, so it's like
a democratic sexual assaulting society.
Yes. So yeah, there's going to be
he's got an EDI committee all over it to decide who he's looking at next. So.
Yeah, so if that is not your style, you definitely don't want to read this book. You don't want to watch the show, and you do not want to listen to this episode because we are going to be talking about it quite a lot. That's mostly it. There is like some weird like physical discipline between spouses.
Some people are here for it. Some people are not. It's a split.
It's a split decision among your podcasting crew. But between the main couple, there is no assault, but there is a little bit of no, yes business as well. But like generally speaking, it's quite enthusiastic and consensual. But you got to look out because Blackjack Randall could be around every fucking rock and piece of heather because he gets all around in Highland Scotland.
That man is just on the move constantly. You know, you can't meet your quarterly quotient of sexual assaults if you take a break. So.
Look, it's about that hustle. It is about getting out there and getting.
He is not the Wolf of Wall Street. He is the Wolf of, I don't know.
Jamie Fraser's ass. Oh my God.
Wolfenlock. I don't know.
Oh my God. So yeah, if that gives you an idea of how this episode is going to go, then yes, you are correct. That is how it's going to go. So, Hey y'all.
100 episodes.
I can't believe it. I've never gone to the gym this long.
I know. Gosh, just think about all the wine bottles we've left in our wake doing this show. So many tannins have been consumed.
We've recycled all of them.
Yeah.
We're good girls.
We are. So, yeah, 100.
Outlander. Sassenach. So what's your history with this book?
Being obsessed with it and being obsessed, like, especially when the show came out. Now, here's the thing. I am only obsessed with the first book and the first season of the show. I don't care about any of the other things because what I don't really care about is any of the intrigue or the actual plot of Outlander. Outlander is super plotty. Outlander
is very plotty.
Super plotty.
They are always on a horse going somewhere, yes.
What I care about is Jamie and Claire banging it out.
Yeah, and in the first book, they do that a lot. I read the first two books. I don't know when, but it was within the last 20 years. And before the show came out, considerably before the show came out. And I read the first two in 2 days of fever dream.
Just like
and then the third book, I don't know. They were in a mangrove swamp for 300 pages, and I did not finish the third book.
No, I was not.
And the funny thing is that we both did not finish the third book.
I was like, one of the things I've read about it is when the book is written by Diane Gabaldon, mm-hmm. and one of the things, and we'll get into her in a second, but one of the things I read is, when she wrote the book, when she did the series, she knew that the first book obviously would be much more love scene intensive because she's like, they're a new couple and they're still, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But I want that in the rest of them too, please. I don't care about trying to stop wars by using time travel. I think that what I want is for you, what time travel was invented for, which is banging.
Well, see, for me,
across eons, oceans of time.
Oh yeah,
banging.
The first two to me blended together. I thought she went back in the first one. I when I got to the end of the first one, I was like, wait, really? Because a lot of what I thought was in the first one was actually in the second one, evidently.
Yeah.
So the first two, if you're not sure if you want to read all 10, only 9 of which have been written thus far, you can happily read the first two and have yourself a good time. But yeah, a lot of the emotional consequences and like catharsis comes in the second one, and I thought it would come in this one, so I was a little like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, who was Diana Gabaldon? We did listen to her say her own name on a YouTube video, so that's what it is.
Diana Gabaldon is obviously an American author known for this series. And her books kind of merge. If you haven't read it, it's a big book. It's not really typical in the romance genre. It's more of what you would call like an airport novel.
I think a lot of people wouldn't even call it a romance novel because, I mean, and actually when I first read it, I didn't really read romance novels, so I read it as speculative fiction.
Yeah. It's, it's historical, romance, mystery, adventure, science fiction. And then there's obviously a television show that has been spun off the novels called Outlander, and it's on Starz, and came out in 2014. All right, so Our Lady Diana Gabaldon was born in 1952 in Arizona, the daughter of Jacqueline Sykes and Tony Gabaldon.
Dude, we don't need to know her parents' name.
We do because her dad was a state senator and was of...
Okay.
I think that's cool, and was of Mexican ancestry. So
okay.
she, we talk about this.
Okay, well, that's actually more interesting.
She has a master's of marine biology and used to work for Scripps.
Okay.
In 1988, she decided to write a novel to practice, just to learn how. Can't when people say that. She's a research professor, obviously, so she decided to write a historical novel because she thought it would be the easiest to research and write. She had no background in history, no time period in mind, but she happened to see a rerun episode of Doctor Who, and the episode was called The War Games. And in this one, Doctor Who, one of the Doctor's companions was a Scot from around 1745, a young man about 17 named Jamie McCrimmon, who provided the initial inspiration for her main male character, James Fraser. So she decided to have an English woman to play off all these kilted Scotsmen, but her female character took over the story and began telling it herself. So, as she wanted to have the time travel. So, yeah.
Yeah.
She just, it's one of those where people just are like, I wanted to like practice writing a book. And I am set for life now.
Which is generally a lie. Yeah. Usually like what they're not telling you about is the 50 unfinished manuscripts that they have like under their bed. Like, come on. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we can just jump in. But so what we're going to do, because Outlander is so plotty, we would be here forever to actually tell you what happens in Outlander. We're going to kind of skip all the politics. We're not going to tell you about all the individual Mackenzies and their relationships with one another or any of that crap. We're here, for Jamie and Claire banging and all the other stuff that we found particularly interesting. No, don't think because I'm saying this. The book is really good. I mean, the book is awesome. And all those parts of it are really good as well. It's
if you want to and if you are upset that we're not going to deep dive on like Jacobean history, I'm sorry.
But we were thinking maybe we would rewatch season 1 of the show and do a little Patreon only episode. So that could be fun. I was watching it with my husband, and like he's like, I'm sorry, I can't watch it anymore. This is too rapey. So every time he gets in my car and like one of those Bear McCreary thing comes on my playlist, he's like, oh, is that the rape theme from Outlander? And I had to be like, oh, they're all the rape theme from Outlander. You can't act like that's not, So anyway, so in other words, we are going to kind of streamline this plot a little bit because either you've read it or watched the show, or, look, you've got a lot to discover. There you go. Please yourself. So the interesting thing, and this is actually the only book that I can really think of, there's probably more, but the only one that comes to mind where a time travel book is not from the contemporary time. Claire, so this was written in 91. Claire does not leave from 91. I guess to give her plenty of headroom to get older. But she leaves from 1946. Like, she has been a combat nurse in World War II, and her husband, Frank.
Oh, Frank.
Is like he's like with the intelligence bureau or something, right? Like, and he is so boring. He is obsessed with genealogy. I'm sorry if that's your thing. I've been a librarian for a long time. There are other more interesting hobbies, like, for example, carving things out of soap. You could try that. You could.
Yeah, they're on their second honeymoon, but to kind of reconnect because they've been away from each other for because the war has raged on, and she was a nurse. He's obviously, like you said, like a intelligence officer, and. So this honeymoon, they're having a second honeymoon to kind of reconnect.
But he has planned this damn honeymoon.
it's about to do dorky research about his, his sordid history,
So this conversation that he was all like, so honey, where would you like to go on vacation? And she is like, Hawaii. And he's like, well, what if we go back to Scotland? And she's like, well, that sounds nice. That's where we got married. He's like, yeah, it's also where they have a bunch of like genealogical records from and all that stuff. And she's like, I guess I can knit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like hanging out in Inverness. He's also Frank. Poor Frank. He's a history professor. He's just, he's so benign.
He's deeply boring and just cool. I don't mean in the cool radical way. I mean the cool as in like a little cold way. So she loves him, but he doesn't accuse her, but he's like, well, I'll understand if something happened when you were nursing. And she's like, big fucking excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he kind of pulls a little bit of that business. So, so it was a little fraught. Like they're learning how to like know each other again. And it's quite realistic. But okay, what you need to know is that like both in the show and then essentially in the book, you know how like in Peter Pan, Mr. Darling is always played by the same actor who plays Captain Hook. So Frank is obsessed with his 18th century ancestor, Captain Blackjack Randall,
who is he's a blackguard. He's it's that whole idea of like, ooh, I'm distantly related to someone who has a
pirate or like whatever. So I guess like really what the book is about is like, hey, you know what? That's not fucking cool because by pirate we mean rapist.
Yeah. So he's all looking up his historical records and Claire's just wandering around,
like just having tea with people.
Amazing second honeymoon.
Yeah. But like,
she finds these basically she finds mini Stonehenge. She's like, oh, look at these rocks. They're buzzing. They're making like this crazy noise.
Well, she's there. She and Frank like see like and it's actually kind of great because they're not like the lithe young maidens of the town.
No.
They're like the matrons, like the stout ladies who like run the village, tea sales or whatever. But they're doing like a kind of a druid ritual, and they're like, this is fascinating. But she goes up to like look at it afterwards, and she gets sucked into the 18th century.
Yeah, she faints and wakes up. And it's just, it's the 18th.
It's immediately Blackjack Randall.
Yes, because she's like, oh, Frank, why are you dressed stupid? Like, oh, are you going on like some kind of like, because guess what? It's one of those like history twins. Frank looks exactly like his, historical ancestor, the evil Blackjack Randall.
And they're played by what's his name from Rome? Oh, shit.
Oh, not the, oh, yeah.
Not the other guy. No, I know who you're thinking. Not that guy. The other guy.
No, yeah. And so, he sees her and immediately he's like, attack! Because that's what you do if you just see anybody.
Well, and I mean, like, people see her and she's in her sensible 40s dress and they're all like, why are you fucking naked, ho?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, in this context.
So she's like, what a fucking shock that has to be. She wakes up, she's in, the 1740s.
It's not like you can just pick up a newspaper and figure this out.
A guy who looks just like your husband is now trying to kill you. And so she...
After he rapes you.
Yeah, the raping is coming first. That's just like...
Well, is it though with Blackjack Randall?
We never know.
Yeah. Like, he could go either way. He's not picky. But so, she falls in with these people and they turn out to be the Mackenzies, and there's a guy with them who is young and hot and full of holes. And because she's a nurse, she kind of like patches at some of the holes.
I was like, holes? What other holes he got? All right.
Ask Captain Blackjack Randall about that.
That's all right. Okay, yeah. So it's like a bunch of like just snarly looking dudes, and then one hot one, like one that you're like, all right, he's got his teeth.
Yeah. In generally the right places. Yeah. So, and of course, like it's clearly a little bit fraught between them. They're not quite in the same camp, I guess. But she, of course, for one thing, like he's her patient, and for another thing, he's real hot. So they kind of like fall into a little thing together, and it turns out
they have to do that situation where they do they share the horse.
Oh yeah,
and she has to ride up front on the horse. We love those. We love when the horse
we do
ride.
Love those. There was one in a Joanna Lindsay book where I am pretty sure they fucked on me. It wasn't a horse. It was like a sci-fi horse. Yeah, well, that happened. But yeah, so meanwhile, like this is a lot of stuff is happening. There's a lot of toing and froing, but really she is getting to know this dude, Jamie, and they end up it's his mom's family
Right, so it's the clan. Like she's been picked up by these. She keeps telling them like, oh, you know, it's hard because you can't be like, I'm from the future.
Yeah,
but they think she's a spy. Yeah. Because she's this English woman who's dressed weird that they've just found, so they can't let her go.
Yeah.
So
reasonable, you know. People behave pretty reasonably.
What was the clan's name?
They're the Mackenzies.
The Mackenzie. So they're taking her back to like the
Castle Leoch.
Yeah, to the loch. So that, you know, and so the whole time she's trying to get away and keeps getting caught by Jamie with his big man hands and put on the horse, and you know.
And meanwhile, Jamie is lying about his name. Turns out that he's a wanted man. Wanted by, guess who? Captain Blackjack Randall, who has already like beat the shit out of his back. So I mean, they've got like history by the time that we're here.
One man wrecking crew, just all. And they're like, this is one person in Scotland. It's one of those. They're like, how do you always see the same person? No matter, he's everywhere.
I mean, it's not that big a country, but it's got like not great roads. So
yeah, but you're on a horse.
How he always gets there before they do. Actually, you know, it's like the good and the bad and the ugly, where Angel Eyes always beats them to it. It's exactly like that.
I'm here. You can't beat me. So yeah. But anyway, Claire just keeps trying to get away. She keeps like trying to explain it. Jamie, she kind of has told, I'm from the future.
No, not yet. Okay. Yeah. So I read it more recently than Courtney did. She settles in at the castle for a bit, but eventually they want to really find out like what kind of spy she is or isn't. So they send her out with this group of men, including Jamie, to like pick up the rents, and also they're raising money for the Rising, for Bonnie Prince Charlie, all that shit. And like they run into Blackjack Randall again, and he says, guess what, you have to deliver this bitch to me like next week or it's hell to pay for all y'all. So what they do is they marry her to Jamie.
Yeah, it's given us like when there's basically a marry or die. I love it.
It's a marry or die. And then she'll be Scottish and she'll belong to Jamie's clan, the Frasers, so therefore Randall can't just like take her back. So, and it's very it's a little upsetting because she's like, I can't tell them I'm married. I'm like, you know,
how do you?
She told them she was a widow, which is actually pretty smart in the past. It gives you. I guess
freedom. She technically is because her husband is dead.
Yes,
he does not exist right now.
Yes,
on this plane.
Yeah, she's not committing bigamy exactly.
Well, yeah,
it's a little. I
don't know how to unravel how. Yeah.
Well, there's no way that she could possibly live long enough in the past to make it to her husband's birth. So I think she's always in the clear in terms of God.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
You know, so
that makes sense.
She's good. But so she marries Jamie, and there is.
Would you if you went back in time and they were like, okay, you know, marry or die to a hot. It'd be kind of funny. It'd be kind of fun. Be like, ha ha ha, it's not cheating because he's dead.
You know? Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, like, she behaves pretty realistically through all this. She won't admit it. Like, she's the viewpoint character for pretty much the whole book. But that, like, she doesn't really. She knows this is real. But you can tell she doesn't really think it's real because she keeps doing the stupidest fucking shit and getting captured by Blackjack Randall.
You probably would have to think that you're just like, okay, I've obviously had a psychotic break.
Yeah. But if you don't treat it like it's real, then you'll get raped by Captain Blackjack Randall.
I mean, here's the thing. The people who, like, this is their real timeline are getting, like, you know.
I'm just saying, you got to treat it serious. Okay, y'all know in the Choose Your Own Adventure books where you got to know, like, page 34 is just the cheap death where you get chucked out the airlock or a dragon eats you or whatever. That's getting raped by Blackjack Randall in this book. Like, okay, that is the most common thing that is going to happen to you.
It really is like, it's kind of like...
He's everywhere.
He is the cholera of the Oregon Trail gang.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. You died of dysentery and also... Yeah, here's Blackjack Randall. So she keeps on trying to get away, to get back to the Stone Circle, to get back to her...
I just gotta go touch that rock again.
But instead, she keeps running in... to Blackjack Randall, and it happens again. And so there's this point where, like, Jamie says, "You stay here," and she leaves, and she puts them all in danger, and they have to go rescue her from getting. Literally, she's got her tits out, like she's cut her dress out. I mean, like, it is do or die, and like Jamie like comes in the window and all and gets her out, and he's like, okay, look, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this, but I have to beat the fucking shit out of your ass because like people could have died. Like people did die on the other side. We shot some people rescuing your dumb fucking ass. So he does beat the hell out of her with a belt to a point where she cannot really ride.
And again, all of this is because she keeps trying to, like, she's making incredibly stupid decisions in an attempt to get away to go back to these, like, stones.
So after that, she tells Jamie, I'm like, okay, you're not going to believe me, but I have to fucking tell somebody. Because they had said they have a really great interaction, like when they get married. And he's like, okay, I understand you're not telling me everything. I can tell. I'm not fucking stupid. So I think between people like us, they can have secrets, but not lies.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So yeah. So she's like, okay, fine. You know what? I'm from the fucking future. Not the future of 1991. I'm from the future of 1946. And I'm married to a man who, by the way, is played by the same man as Captain Blackjack Randall.
I can't be like, he's not going to, he's just in the library right now doing some research. He is not doing all this crazy, like, raping and wrecking that's going on. Like, Captain Blackjack Randall is essentially like Billy from Stranger Things. Like, that man is just all over town driving like, if he had a car, it'd be like a Trans Am, you know. But he likes to fill out paperwork too, you know. Like,
yes. He also enjoys a good form, a good government form. So, and he's like, okay, well, let's get you back to your fucking stone circle.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he is ride or die for her. It's great because he's like, okay, let's fucking go.
Yeah. So, you know, when they meet each other, she's a little bit older. She's in her late 20s. Jamie is in his early 20s. Jamie, you know, obviously she has been married. She is from the 40s. You know, societal norms are different.
And I believe she had extramarital sex. I mean, premarital sex.
Yeah.
I believe. Like, so she has not just had sex with one person.
Now, Jamie is our Catholic good boy and has not. But once he starts.
Well, yeah, he takes instruction very well.
Yes. So,
and this is a 90s book. It feels like an 80s book, mostly because of all the rape, but it is a 90s book. So he goes downtown. He eats pussy like it is his full-time job.
So yeah, their relationship is really interesting in that we have that. And yeah, once she finally tells him, he's like, luckily she like gets to bone the one hot and one feminist guy in Scotland right now. You know, but he's like, yeah, we'll make a plan. We'll work together to get you back to your, you know.
And he does. He takes her back to the stone circle, and suddenly, like, everybody's crying. She's not sure she wants to go. And he's like, well, there's nothing here for you except for violence, death, and Blackjack Randall. And she's like, oh, really? There's nothing here? And he's like, look, I'm going to go down the hill. There's, like, a fucking sheep barn, and I'm going to go wait there a day. You make up your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
he's very respectful of her decision-making.
Because, you know, with Frank and her was more like this companionship, kind of like not very like benign relationship. And
we should mention
and Jamie are in it.
They have been trying to have a baby and been unsuccessful also.
Her and Frank, not
her and Frank. Jamie. Her and Jamie. Yeah, like so she feels actually very free to fuck Jamie however she wants to because she thinks that she's barren. Which I would never fucking assume that if you were in like 18th century Scotland and you could fucking die. Okay.
I mean, no, that's very, yeah.
Before that, I should also mention there's this woman, Gillis, who is in the town near the castle.
Yeah. So everybody thinks, because again, Claire is very odd. Obviously, she's from 1946. She's very mouthy. She's a little mouthy broad. She's she's the healer for the clan because was a nurse.
She was also weird, though, in 1946 because she was brought up by one of those, like, weird archaeologist uncles.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so
everybody thinks like that there's always like whisperings and rumblings, and that's why I bring it up because they think she's a witch.
Yeah.
There's like witchcraft talk with her. And I mean, and with Gillis too.
Yeah. So Gillis is this woman who is she's married to an important like financial guy, I guess, in the town. But yeah, they whisper about witchcraft. Yeah. So Gillis is also like an herbalist. And is weird. Gillis is legitimately weird. I don't mean weird like you're a time traveler weird. No. I mean, she's fucking weird.
Yeah.
She's got like that white hair, like white blonde hair, and that like real pallor, and she just seems strange.
Yeah.
Even, from time traveler standards. Yeah, they think that Gillis is a witch, and because she murdered her husband, which she actually did do in front of everybody, because her husband realized that she was pregnant by somebody else. But so anyway, Claire gets wrapped up in it because somebody who is jealous of her goes and rats her out also, and so they keep her like in a thieves' hole, and then Jamie comes and rescues her, and Gillis dies. She is burned at the stake. And then like right before Claire is hustled on out of there, Claire sees that she has a smallpox vaccination scar. In other words, Gillis is also a time traveler, but it's too fucking late because they burn her at the stake.
Yeah.
So she'll never find out what the hell is up with Gillis, except that you do find out a little bit in the next book. But so like how weird and upsetting. So are they like, is everybody a fucking time traveler? Fucking Claire doesn't know. That nobody gave her a guidebook. Nobody told her.
Yeah. Again, she touched, sex Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Like, fell asleep and woke up and was like,
yeah,
here I am.
She has no rule book or anything like that. So Jamie takes her, like they run away from the burning, and takes her to his estate, which he owns now, and now so does she. And
yeah, and one of the things they talk about, like with one of the things discussed throughout, and it is like, okay, so yeah, she goes back to the magic rocks, even if she touches the magic rock.
No, she almost went. And this time.
But what I'm saying is it's also that they don't know how the time travel works.
They
don't know, like there's not a guarantee that she's going to go back to the same spot.
And I mean, she does like later on in the next book, as I recall, when she does go back to her own time, she cannot get back. The other way. And if I'm right, I did not reread Voyager, but if I'm right, like she knows that Gillis is 1967, and so she's like ready to go in 1967. Yeah. So in other words, she's gonna be older and so yeah. But so all of this, like now Jamie knows, but nobody else knows. And they're running from the burner, she's a witch business, and they go to Jamie's estate at Lallybroch and meet his sister and her husband, and they're all very nice, and his sister is like having a baby and has a really weird discussion, a very sexual discussion about what it feels like to be pregnant, which was not my experience at all whatsoever. It was not great. But eventually, like they're there too long, essentially, and they get him. Like
you cannot be in any place for more than 20 minutes for Captain Jack Randall.
Yeah, he's gonna come get you. And then so Claire and Jamie's sister had a baby.
Like that man's penis is like Jaws. It's like the shark in Jaws, because it's like no matter where you are, it's there. You put a big ham out and try to catch it, it's gonna try to get you.
A ham. Why is it a ham?
Well, that's what they know. Was what did they throw out in the movie? It was a roast.
I'm just imagining a ham.
I'm just saying, like that thing is everywhere, just peering out from the water.
It's the Loch Ness Monster. Yeah. That's what it is. And that, like, you were thinking it was a play that like plesiosaur or whatever. Yeah. It's Captain Blackjack.
Adult penis.
Yeah, they get Jamie. And so, Claire and Jenny go after him. Jenny had a baby yesterday.
Oh, and also, like, again, like we said earlier, I don't think we ever really got into it. Jamie is he's wanted a lot of the political stuff going on between he and Blackjack. And
so that's why he was going by a false name at the beginning. Like, he is in serious danger if he gets caught, and he does get caught.
He does.
And he escapes from getting caught, and then he gets caught again from getting caught. And he's at a prison where Captain Blackjack Randall does not work at this prison, okay? Captain Blackjack Randall is not stationed at this prison. But somehow, Captain Blackjack Randall hears that Jamie Fraser is available at this prison.
Like, oh, you got him? Okay, good. I got some business to attend. I got some.
So Claire goes and like tries to figure out what's going on, because she's like gotten some buy-in to from some Mackenzies to try to spring
they
them.
They finally like her a little bit more now. You know, she's growing on them some.
Yeah, she's healed a lot of people's like.
Mainly she's had, it's like, because there's always like one old, bald, scrappable kind of like, Scottish one that's like, hey, I don't know you, woman, lass, like that kind of thing. But he's finally turned around.
Well, Duncan tries to rape her too. I mean,
that's just that's the Scottish hello.
Well, I was not. I apologize to any of our Scottish listeners. She didn't mean it. We were going to talk about Duncan and them, so forget that I said that. But yeah, so she goes and so she finds, like, they have a whole plan, and she goes to spring him. She finds him in this basement room that like Blackjack Randall has set up as his little rape dungeon, and has like he smashed like Jamie's fingers already with a hammer. Like, this is not torture for information. This is just torture for funsies.
Yeah, it's it is upsetting. It is like he has been very like it is brutal.
Yeah, and he's gonna rape her, and Jamie makes the deal like, no, if you let her go, I won't fight you. And then, so, I mean, like, he like shoves Claire out a door into like the gross, like, trash pit. She has to fight a wolf to death. And meanwhile, she knows like something awful is happening to Jamie, and it doesn't matter because they're going to hang him in the morning anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So she happens to like, she's also the luckiest woman in the world. She happens to luck into some new allies that she like charms with her little gumption and whatever. And they come and they like unleash a bunch of cattle in the prison. But anyway, it works, and they get him out, but he is fucked up. Like, he is, like, honestly, the rape is the least of the of how messed up he is. And they just like put him on a fucking ship and send him to France. Like, so and he almost dies of seasickness on the way over there too. So his uncle is an abbot in this monastery in France, and so it's all like hurt comfort business, except that he is so messed up about what. Now, luckily, Blackjack Randall is sort of like a vampire. I guess he can't cross running water.
Oh, she does too. Yeah, because no, she hasn't told him yet. Does she do this? She does this badass thing where she tells him that she's a witch.
Yes, like the last time she sees him, she's like, "I am a witch, motherfucker, and I can tell you the day you die." And she does,
because she knows it because her husband was obsessed with her.
Which is how fucking boring this man is, that she remembers the day this man dies.
Yeah, but it's so cool because, you know, Frank had told her all about, like, all of his, like, terrible dealings and told her how and, like, when
he's got, like, a patron and all. Yeah. Kind of comes up. But
like, it's so cool. Like, but it was, like, such a baller move where she's like, I'm a witch and I know when I can foresee your death. So, like, having that. Yeah,
she does get a little bit of vengeance in. But it really feels hollow because Jamie is so messed up by this. So, not only is he actually, like, seriously injured, I mean, his hand is a mess.
Physically and mentally.
Yes. And he can't get over it, and eventually he gets a fever, and frankly they should have amputated at least one of his fingers, but they didn't. And Claire gets this idea in this monastery, which is full of like really nice monks that she even makes friends with, but this is not accredited by, is it the American Academy of Psychiatrists? I don't even know what the body is, but so
American Psychological Association.
That's just like the citations, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The APA. Because like APA doesn't allow for this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not okay in APA. You had to do this inline citation.
MLA. MLA only. Okay.
So there's like smells. He can't handle smelling anymore. It's like he's really messed up. And then he starts to tell her what happened. And it's ghastly. I mean, like Captain Blackjack Randall has like serious psychological problems. So it wasn't just physical. It was always like him and trying to get him to say he loved him. It was bananas. And he kept on like, he wouldn't let him disassociate, you know, which is what you do, right? And he kept on like reminding Jamie of Claire. And so now he can't imagine ever like looking at Claire in that way again. He just wants to die and all this shit. So she douses herself in Blackjack Randall's personal scent and goes in, and it is just weird fever dream. Fuck it out. It is very, very strange.
Yeah.
And it does not seem like a healthy thing for Jamie to have happen to him at all. But then it's okay because he's fine now, and they go to like an underground hot spring and they have more sex, and then she's pregnant.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, now we got to go to France.
Well, no, they're already going to go to Rome.
Yeah, they got to. Oh, they got. They had to go to Paris first or something.
Well, France is the next book. Yeah. So that's generally what happens in Outlander.
Yeah.
And I know you're like, wow, I mean, is there really that much rape in the book? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, there actually is that much rape in the book.
Yes.
Yes. So, question time.
Big dick energy or big dick energy?
Jamie is so great.
Jamie is amazing. We love Jamie so much.
Because so obviously the temptation is when you're writing a time travel book is presentism. Because you want to make a guy that you want. You know, you don't want to make an actual man in the past. So, of course, like it's kind of cheating that he's this educated man who has like, you know, he had a mom who was real feisty and all. So, you know, he's not like back in the kitchen, bitch, you know.
Right.
But he's also, he's tender. He's violent in an appropriate way because he feels... I don't know how accurate any of this is. Honestly, this is never my time period, but it feels like the vibe feels right.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, I was very in it for him. Like, and again, like she said, like he's got that little bit of like he's got like a little bit of a stern brunch daddy vibe going on that works, you know, like.
But he's also very sweet, and like he's obviously experiencing true love for the first time, and like he's the guy who will just say it. Like he will just say, and like you're not supposed to say it, my dude. You're supposed to keep a little something back. No. He is just in it.
Yeah, Claire's the black cat, and he is the golden retriever.
Yes.
Of the coupling.
Yes, and he is just he's just great. He's just fantastic. I really, if you read this and you don't like Jamie Fraser, I'm kind of surprised, because he is like one of the great romance novel guys.
You're crazy.
Would you talk shit with her about the heroine?
Oh, she's great.
She's great. She could so easily be a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Like a self-insert character, but she does dumb shit constantly. But understandably dumb shit, because like she acts like she's like, no, I knew this was all real. Like, did you really though?
Yeah.
I don't think you really did.
I think she's great. I think that I enjoy that she's smart. I enjoy that she like had, you know, the medical thing gives her a real like place in this world.
Yeah.
You know, I really liked her a lot. She's funny. Mm-hmm. You know. So, yeah.
And she doesn't think she's better than these people. Mm-mm. No, not at all. Because, I mean, she realizes that they are very good at a lot of things. It's not just things that she knows. And she's so happy when she does have a place in this world. When she's able to heal somebody. Or there's a scene where it's funny, there's 2 traumatic births in this thing. There's a horse that has a breech birth. And then it kind of, I guess, like foreshadows Jamie's sister has a breech birth. And so she's in there up to the shoulder in the horse.
Yeah.
Which would, I think, you know, normally be like very, all creatures are great and small. Argue the veterinary, but like she's not grossed out about it when it actually finally works and the horse is saved and the foal comes out. She's just elated.
Yeah,
it's great. It's super relatable in this way that like she's. I don't know. She's a great character.
Yeah.
She's just like a genuinely great character, even if you do want to shake her constantly, because like, girl, when you're told to stay somewhere, there's 2 different ways of being told to stay somewhere, okay? And one of them is important and one of them isn't. You got to clarify which one it is.
It's very true.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know, if it were me, no, she hadn't had the conversation with him yet.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, okay, all right, I need to know. We need to have like the opposite of a safe word. I guess we had to have like a danger word. Like, if you tell me anything else, I'll use my fucking judgment and fuck you. But if you say like run, okay, then I'll fucking run, because I trust your judgment on that one. But otherwise, I'm a person, right? But she just hairs off all the damn time. She almost drowns before she gets rescued by Captain Blackjack Randall, before she gets the opposite of rescued by Captain Blackjack Randall, because she's wearing a bunch of skirts and she falls in the deep part of the fucking river, you know?
To be fair, you know.
That happens to the best of us, right?
It does. Back down to bitch.
It's great in this, man. There's Gillis. There's also there's a lady at the castle, Mrs. Fitz, like the housekeeper, that they talk a lot. There's also Jamie's sister, Jenny. There are even people like back in 1946. There's lots of women talking in this.
Yeah.
No, it's, of course, it has plenty of room. This book is a chonker. There's a lot that's going on in this book. But it has great women's relationships. Honestly, even though that, like, you know, most people don't really understand her, but you know, like, she has, I think, realistic, genuine relationship with many women. Uh-oh. When it comes to consent, is this book more Robin Thicke or Marvin Gaye?
Well, obviously, we know where this stands. And here's the thing. I felt like the Blackjack Randall stuff is never, well, the stuff with Jamie is problematic, obviously, in that it's awful. That's the obvious. But it also is weirdly, like,
it's kind of hot.
Yeah. Kind of. You feel like a dirtbag.
Low-key hot. Well, and so it has that thing that you would see in romance in the 90s that had gay characters, that has the evil gays. Yeah. So there's also Randall's sort of patron, Sandringham, had gone after him when he was a kid. You know,
it feels very like slash fanfic.
It does.
It's got that wumpy kind of like with your evil one, and you're like, oh yeah. So it's but I mean, obviously, like with Jamie, you get a little bit of like the ravishment kind of thing. The no, yes, Jamie and Claire. You know, but like I will say, like when the sexual assault like that you see Captain Blackjack doing is sexual assault. I mean, minus the Jamie aspect of all.
It's not a ravishment. It is, well, and even when it happens to Jamie, it's obviously a sexual assault. It's just that it's like weird as like a psychodrama going on, you know? Yeah. The book is not confused about what consent looks like.
Right.
Every so often with Claire and Jamie, like she's like, okay.
And I think it plays a little bit with that idea, because I think one of the things it tries to talk about is like, you know, when you're back in this idea of like being, when he spanks her, you know, this kind of like, all right, because she's like, I don't consent to this. And he's like, yeah, but really you don't have consent in this time.
Yeah, I do own you.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that? And I mean, he says, like, look, the men are furious at you. They could have died. I have to actually do something. It'll all be over with the men if they hear me tanning your ass with this belt, okay? Yeah. But then he gets, like, way into... Yeah. He gets like he goes a little overboard on it.
Yeah, it is interesting because it's like a little the consent. I mean, obviously, like for the most part, it's portrayed in the light that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. But I will absolutely warn that, like, it's omnipresent.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, like, constant. So if there's a thing that you're, like, okay with in small doses, then this is not the book or show for you. No, yeah. No, not even a little bit. How badly are you judging your mom off reading this book? Everybody read this book.
Yeah.
This book was incredibly popular.
Again, it's like an airport book. Like, it's like, you know, so I think it's one of those that crosses over as well. Like,
it is. I mean, because I think it actually works very well. As you know, often, that dumbass Civil War time travel book that we read was not a good time travel book. No. Actually, it wasn't a good romance either. But, you know, I mean, like, it is rare to find a book that has the kind of crossover appeal that is a good time travel book. Like, it's a good speculative fiction book. And it's a good romance, and you know, it's a good even historical fiction. It actually fires on all those cylinders very well. So I do think that this book actually brought in a lot of audiences who are not romance readers. You know, and maybe gave them the wrong idea about romance too.
No, for sure. Yeah.
But I think that like everybody's mama read this book. Would Florida ban it?
Oh, I don't.
Everybody is white.
Yeah.
But, like, so it's got the evil gay problem.
Yeah, it does have the evil gay problem.
Like, there are two clearly either gay or bisexual men in this that are both predators. There are no gay or bisexual men who are just gay or bisexual men. Oh, would we know? We wouldn't know.
No, yeah. But like the ones that we're dealing with it are not good.
Yeah.
So, and like,
it's got that early 90s thing. Like, if you remember, if we read The Lady's Tutor, has that idea, like, you know, that, and especially the one of them, especially is Sandringham, goes after young boys.
Yeah,
and that's, you know,
pederasty.
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it. So I think Florida would be all on board with it.
Probably love it.
Yeah, probably love it. Sorry, guys. So it's got, you know, that aspect to it, which I do not love.
You're not leaving the house looking like that.
There's some outfits.
She's got some cute, like, obviously Jamie is
rocking. A little kilt.
He's rocking his kilt. She's rocking her. It's fun to hear her talk about, like, I mean, here's the thing. This book is very long, and, like, it's obviously not all just running from back and forth and being like, whatever. She's very good at description. And like, so when she talks about natural, like clothes being dyed with natural fibers and like how like Claire has to dress differently and like, it's great.
Yeah. There's some good outfit descriptions. I think my favorite outfit, you only find out later, like, these dudes, she says she was all these dudes. She's the only woman. And they're like, you have to marry Jamie today. And she's like, oh, God, this is so... Well, and they find her a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you find out later that Jamie had required that. He's like, okay, I will marry her, but we are not doing this shit in front of a magistrate. We are going to a church, and you will find her a dress, and I will not have her, like, feeling like she got, like, the short end of the fucking stick on this. So you're going to find her a fucking dress. And they do. I don't know where they find the dress. And I mean, later on when she's going to the prison, like somebody like knew a sex worker who was willing to like lend a dress.
Yeah.
So she's like, I think the perfume is possibly from the previous, like the actual owner.
Yeah. So there's some cute outfits in it. And again, I think she does a really good job of description and like knowing, you feel like she's one of those that also, you see why this book became a miniseries, because she writes where it feels like
it is very cinematic. And she also knows damn well that the past is not all like brown.
Yeah.
So she's always wearing like,
this beautiful coloring. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. She's like, and then Mrs. Fitz left me some striped stockings and, a yellow bodice and, so it's well described and you're happy for her when she gets to wear a cute outfit.
Yes.
Because she doesn't always, because of course you don't always, but like, sometimes you do.
Yeah.
In the show, there's a lot of great knitwear.
One of the best outfits is in the second book where they go to France and like they're basically
the tis out shit.
Yeah. Yes, that was like I think the best one is in book 2.
And in the show, they did that whole essentially Dior new look dress, which of course is not. But I mean, you got what they were trying to do there, right?
Yeah.
It was that was awesome. I really like that. And of course she talks, I appreciate when they talk about what the men wear.
Yeah.
And she is hot for a kilt, you guys. She is like hundo P there, but she's also hot for a British Army uniform. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She again, you can tell she's really good at research because we've got like all these like great outfits.
Yeah. And it feels right.
And again, things that are colored the way that they would be like that.
Right.
And,
yeah, it's great. The outfits are good in this in just a more general sense. Would your 12-year-old self have dog-eared 8 pages? They fuck.
It's just like, as we said earlier too, this book, especially this book and the second book are the sex heavy books. And like, she writes it really well. Like she goes in, it's great. She writes really good sex scenes.
And I mean, they're always like, it's always emotional content too. It's not just that they're banging it. Although, but it's like, it's often like something awful happens and they have to like,
You know what she writes again? She sets a scene really well because sometimes people will just write it like it feels clunky and it's just thrown in there. It's just like all the ingredients are there, but they just can't make it work. Like this, like sets a mood and it's like really good.
And certainly, like after they're forced to marry in haste, they have like essentially a weekend in a hotel room.
Yes, I love a forced to marry in haste situation. Yes, and like I also like can really recommend the whole like when they get married scene in the show too, because
I must have made it that far.
Yeah,
no, because I definitely made it to Jamie. Yeah, I made it to that for sure. That might have been what made my husband stop because like it is.
Yeah, it's brutal.
A lot. It is a lot. But yeah, the sex is good and plentiful in this. What pairs nicely with a dumpster fire? Well, it's got to be a good scotch, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, obviously.
There's no other answer. And then, should 21st or should even being in the 21st century? Absolutely. I think, like, obviously, it's still talked about. People still like, know this. I think the books. I mean, there's so many of them. It's such a
she's got one more to write.
Yeah, so I think that it's great. And get your Outlandering on sassenachs. So yeah,
we could only barely dip into this book, honestly, if you didn't want to hear us like detailing. Then they got on a horse and then they went to here. So if this sounds at all good to you, this is actually a great book as long as you can handle the assault, and it is a truly delightful romance and a solid speculative fiction book as well.
Yeah, and also the series. So there's tons of media to consume in regards to Outlander. And if you
made it through book 3, let us know.
If you like consuming media, we're bodice tipplers, and this is our 100th episode.
100!
So thank you all for your support, and we'll be talking to you for 101.
Bodice Tipplers is part of the Frolic Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts.